Good afternoon, everyone, from wherever in the world you may be joining us today. My name is Leila Darus. I am the YMH coordinator. It's my pleasure to welcome every one of you as we officially open the 13th session of the Distinguished Lecture in Emerging and Systematic Risks monthly lecture series, co-organized by YMH and CFOL York. Without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to Dr. Eric Kennedy, co-director of YMH, to introduce today's moderator. Dr. Kennedy, you're muted.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. It's our pleasure to have you here today for this session. I believe this is the 13th in our series of lectures on emerging and systemic risks, covering a wide variety of risks that face us. These lectures are a collaboration between YEmerge and CFOL York. YEmerge is the York Emergency Mitigation, Engagement, Response, and Governance Institute. It's a pan-university institute dedicated to the study of crises, disasters, emergencies, and opportunities to overcome these risks. And CFOL York is a training institute, one of several attached with the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, or UNITAR, and engages in a wide variety of this kind of programming to bring these issues to public attention. I'm so looking forward to today's discussion on the power of OpenAI in emergencies, crisis, and risk assessment, and very much looking forward to the conversation that we have ahead. Our moderator for today will be Dr. Tofighi. Dr. Tofighi has a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Sharif University of Technology. He's furthered his academic pursuits through earning a Master's of Science in Artificial Intelligence, followed by a PhD in Electrical and Computer Engineering from Ryerson University. Dr. Tofighi is currently a professor of cognitive computing and machine learning in the School of Applied Computing at Sheridan College. Professor Tofighi also functions as the director of the SINA Media Lab and is an instructor of data science and artificial intelligence certificate programs at the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies. Prior to his post-secondary work, Dr. Tofighi also has worked as both a research scientist and a senior R&D engineer at a variety of companies across the United States and Iran. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Tofighi today and to introduce the panelists.
Dr. Kennedy, I think Dr. Tofighi has not joined us yet, so maybe you can continue with.
Sure. There might be some technical issues for Dr. Tofighi at the moment.
Thank you.
In that case, it's also my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. Our speaker here is Professor Mojgan Jadidi, who received her PhD in geomatics from the University of Laval in 2014, working on the development of fuzzy spatial data cubes for risk assessment. She has a Master's of Science in Earthquake and Seismology Engineering from the Rose Center, which stands for the Reduction of Seismic Risk, in Italy, and Université Joseph Foulier in France, as well as a Bachelor of Science in Civil Survey Engineering from the Iranian University of Science and Technology. Dr. Jadidi's research interests include geospatial visual analytics in 2D and 3D spaces, building information models, 3D GIS integration, spatial quantum computing for smart environment buildings and cities, and transportation intelligence applications. As a founder of GeoVA Lab, she passionately drives the research in cutting-edge technology development and engineering education using virtual and augmented reality and gamification technologies intersecting with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Her research has been funded by a wide variety of different granting programs, too many to name here, but including all of the prominent grant programs from the university through to the federal government. And she is currently Associate Director of the Esri Center of Excellence at York University. She serves as the Secretary of ISPRS Commission on Spatially Enabled and Regional Digital Twins. She is also the IEEE member for Women in Engineering and Geoscience Group, chair of the PEO Etobicoke chapter, board member of the Toronto BIM community, and Building Smart Canada certificate committee member. Dr. Jadidi has won several international awards during her tenure here at York at Lassonde and for her postdoctoral graduate studies, including several Best Paper and Best Research awards. With a resume like that, we are just so thrilled to have Dr. Jadidi with us today and grateful for your presentation ahead. The floor is yours, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. That's an honor to be here. I'm going to start sharing my screen. We can see my screen. Can I have a confirmation from one?
Yeah,
we can see it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. That was a very humble introduction. Thank you, Eric. Before jumping to today's topic, I really want to give you a little bit the glimpse of what I am doing and what I am up to, and then we are going to go from there. We all know that in our urban development, emerging technology are reshaping the way we live, and it's kind of changing the quality of our life. Using information technology and the data-driven approaches, which this day we are all excited about AI, bringing innovation to our city development and the community as well. That's kind of the lead us to concept of the smart cities. Many of you may already engage with the concept of a smart city. When it comes to a smart city, we are basically talking about multiple attributes like a smart people, a smart economy, a smart environment, government, living, and mobility. What really resonates here is having a smart environment. In order to have this and kind of the micromanage our metropolitan area, we kind of the need in having a digital replica of our physical world, which everything is kind of connected. And that's another terminology which we use this day a lot is digital twin. When it comes to digital twin, so many of you already engage with the data and emergency management or disaster management concept. We basically referring at the geospatial context, which can come as geospatial information system data, or the building data or structure data, which we refer it as a BIM, sensor data, Internet of Things, as well as historical data. But what is emergent is like having a platform which we can integrate all these together and visualize them. And this is basically foundation of my research interest in my research lab, which I refer to as GeoVA. We integrate data, turn it to the smart data, and create a digital twin. And then with the shed light of artificial intelligence and machine learning approaches, we turn it to the application, which we can have a city being prone to flooding, being prepared to flooding if it's prone, understand a better system like energy consumption in our building level, our transportation system being safer and optimized. All this kind of, for me, is a mission to be a key player for the UN sustainable goal and realizing this goal for having a resilient infrastructure and building and cities. Of course, when it comes to the integration and then all these data together, we need to have a cutting edge technology which we can do the data visualization. And that's why I became kind of interested in the technology of the virtual reality, augmented reality. I'm using a lot in my classroom for teaching a student the complex concept and prepare them for being a future leader and engineer, but at the same time I'm using in my research. So let's go back, a step back a little bit. So what is geospatial data? And why this is important to be considered. When it's come to the geospatial data, it's basically we are referring to information. It holds geographical location and attribute feature of the things on the Earth's surface, below or under or above, which that kind of have a pivotal role in enhancing the overall understanding of our surrounding. And also, when it comes to the emergency response strategy, it gives the situational awareness. What geospatial data is really providing for emergency and risk management is providing a visual platform to give the geographical context, which we can find the relationship of the critical parameter during an emergency or before or after. We can build an early warning system by using geospatial data for identifying the pattern, trends, and anomaly, which they are all helping us to have a timely alert for the preparing and preparedness measure. And then for the risk assessment, we are able to identify the vulnerable area, vulnerable region, population, or asset, which again, that assisting in proactive risk mitigation strategy. The list goes on and on. For the resource allocation, geospatial data and the geospatial data analytics provide the resource allocation optimization tools, which that help us to deploy personal equipment and supplies in a timely manner when it comes to disaster management. Evacuation planning is another example of which geospatial data can help for the mapping safe route, identifying the evacuation center by considering geographical constraint, which I'm going to come back to this. Crisis mapping, real-time mapping of the incident, which this is again, this gives the situational awareness, which is very important when it comes to better decision-making and response. And that list goes on and never stops. So what we can see here, geospatial data is kind of the nutshell of the emergency and risk management. But the question comes, okay, how many criteria do we really need? How to use geospatial data and fuse them and like integrate them? What type of data set we need? How about the unstructured data, which has a location information in it? How about the text data, which social media is providing us? All of these considered as a geospatial data or not? So having this in mind, and then in other hand, in the context of the artificial intelligence community, they are doing so much good when it's come to the natural language process or NLP. For the concept wise, like I see there are many experts here. I don't need to go for the definition, but what really natural language processing or NLP is giving us is an interaction between computer and human being streamlined, which the machine can understand human language as human to human understand. So how that can help us? NLP provides quite extraordinary opportunity for language translation, sentiment analysis, and entity recognition. And that does not stop. It holds immense potential for semantic understanding of the data, especially when it comes to the geospatial data. So why is this important? I'm going to show you through an example with a project we are working on. Because in many cases, the location itself or the piece of address is not enough to give you the understanding of what is going on the field or on the environment. It's kind of that semantic piece of information is gives you the context, what to do or what to take as a decision. Also, NLP provide like a tool for extracting valuable information when it's come to textual sources, especially the social media. We all know that the social media this day, the information comes with a geo tag or the location. So how we can put this all together for the for understanding better what is going on the field. That's another example of the which NLP can help in emergency management. Another example is a real-time analysis. You may see many papers coming in the past couple of years, especially for after the earthquake in Mexico. The Twitter text became kind of the way of the knowing that whether people they are in the safe place or not, and that became kind of the new thing for the emergency management purpose. So again, giving improved situational awareness. NLP is really good to deal with unstructured text data, which geospatial data you may consider like always coming from the city, which is not always like this. If we are talking about the social media data, if we are talking about the web blog, if we are talking about a report and things like this, which may have address data, but doesn't need to be structured as we are used to see the data being provided by authorities. So what is really important to keep in mind here is an emergency event. We can classify the categories or like a situation in three steps. Before emergency occurs, during emergency occurs, or during the occurrence of the crisis, and then after occurrence. I'm going to give you a little bit example of the where we can use NLP or like other type of the artificial intelligence approach for each of this step, and I'm going to give you very quick example of the paper I find it. In early warning and the preparedness, which that is before, we can use geospatial data and NLP altogether for identifying the pattern and the trend. And that helps us to develop the predictive model, which we can, again, using machine learning for doing this. And that's going to help us to identify the preparedness measure and how potentially we need to act in the crisis scenario. For the during geospatial data and NLP altogether, it's really helping for the real-time monitoring and also up-to-date information for the immediate response. And also for the after, which that example comes on and on, is how we can analyze the impact of the crisis and support for the recovery effort, especially when it comes to my domain, which I am working a lot with the building information modeling for the like infrastructure health monitoring. This kind of analysis can help us how we can change the building code, for example, if we need to do so to be able or to be ready for this kind of the crisis. And maybe my example is a lot biased by earthquake, because that was the first crisis and the first disaster I worked on in my early engineering career. So that's why, like, I'm kind of have a tendency to work on that that even more often. But still, like, when it comes to the nature of the emergency situation, that kind of can be considered for other. And the lesson learned from this. So how we can learn from the pattern, from those pattern or from those event for the better strategy for the future. I give you some example of the recent application in the NLP, like for the risk assessment. For example, this book, I found it quite impressive, which identify comprehensive risk assessment and for identifying vulnerable area. It gives you quite good hint and good resources how we can use NLP for doing this. Another example for the optimized resource allocation, I find that this paper was quite impressive to give us a series of the outline how to optimize the location allocation problem in emergency resources, again for the improved preparedness. And that list can goes up on and on. There was a case study which they ran public awareness campaigns using NLP approach. Again, that's for enhancing their preparedness and responsibility of the community. Dynamic decision support system could be another application be benefited from the NLP, which can provide the real-time textual information analysis for the immediate situational awareness and also rapid decision support by optimizing emergency response strategy. Again, these are like a few paper I found it, which that was well cited and quite impressive to see the example of the NLP on emergency cases. Automated alert and notification was another example which I find it quite interesting, which generate an automated alert system for the community. Again, that was not just sending the message, it was like whole process of the using geospatial data, analyzing them and giving a timely notification to the relevant authority. Another example is the adaptive response plan, which that's like for the new planning or adjusting the evacuation route. That was another example. Damage assessment was another example I saw we can use NLP. That damage assessment, which I believe that was a Mexican case, which was quite interesting to see how the Twitter and the social media information being used for the damage assessment right away during crisis. Community resilience building is another example which we can use NLP. That's a recent study being done in Italy, and it gives us full resources how we can apply not only in one stage, in a multiple stage. Decision support system for the reconstruction. That's basically like for like a modifying or revising our building code or even like a city planning that can be used. But what is common in any emergency? So in my lens, like in my perspective, what is really common is we are dealing with a multiple source of data. We are dealing with multi-criteria situation. To be more specific, we are in need of finding, tailoring, integrating multiple source of data, which are, in my word, are geospatial data. But what are the challenges? So here is really my project is kind of the come to play. We recently we got a project with Microsoft for leveraging their OpenAI platform, and in this project we kind of think how we can facilitate the pain we have for finding the right data from the different open platform to the public user in more streamlined. So in the context of emergency situation, what we know is we need to deal with multi-source of the data from the different stakeholder and authority. This day, we have abundant open data. When it's come to the emergency, we all have access to this data. But what is it? It's a really tedious task to find the right data the right one where the time is essential. And maybe we take the data, but we can be always wrong. I'm just give you an example what could be the situation. So let's start with some example in the Toronto Open Data Portal. Here I have an example of the information about the bike. So if imagine we are in the situation of the like an emergency response, and we want to find the like a shortest path which people they can use the bike share, abandoned bike share, and do the cycling and then go to the safest place. So like just like a one evacuation scenario. If we just type the bike on the open the data platform, we can end up with different data set. So which one is the best one? We don't know. We need to go one by one, or find someone who knows this data set and tell us which one is good. Or maybe we have a typo and it tells us we don't have a data. So I'm just give you an example. So imagine you are in this situation, you're looking for the data from the open platform, which is available, accessible to everyone. And but we are going to end up with this situation, either don't know which data set is good for you, or you don't find the data. Why is that? Because our open data platform, the way it's working is based on the database title. The search engine is working on the database title or description or the metadata and tags being defined by publisher. But how about the attribute? How about the semantic and ontology of those data? What we try to do is get the advantage of the NLP and the open data platform and revolutionize the way which we can interact with this geospatial data, which that can be quite effective in an emergency case. This is a demo of the system we built, which basically call it as a Geospatial Visual Analytic Copilot. We built a system which you put your data set need as a question, as like a natural language, which all OpenAI, they are good on doing this. And we connect our system to GPT-4, which that we built a series of the embedding, which that can connect to open data platform, find the information, bring it to you, and then you can examine those data. It's not just finding data for you, it's also it's providing you the insight based on your question to provide you what are the important factor is in your question. Here we identify 5 indicator or 5 parameter, which you can kind of map this out in any emergency cases. You are kind of dealing with the multiple parameter or multiple criteria, and then bringing those data to you. So and then your analyst or yourself, like you can just go and test those and then seeing that whether this data set is good enough for you, and without really being engaged with the open platform. Another thing we added is we are giving that opportunity to select those area of the interest and then download the data set. And we have a prompt box, which is like a chat bot. Like you can keep refining your question and or continuing that conversation, and that bring you more data or refining your search. And once you are done, you can take this data and bring it to your own platform and use it later on. As I mentioned, this is a project partnership with Microsoft, and we are still developing it. But what we found is this can be quite interesting when it comes to the emergency management, and this can be used before, during, or after, as like a mediator to find the right data for you. So what is I'm looking forward here is leveraging OpenAI for societal progress goes beyond creating visually appealing content or identify common objects like cat and dogs. Its crucial role in addressing the humanity's extreme needs and vulnerability should be a shared commitment, including yours. What I'm doing is kind of facilitating that, finding the data and bringing to you expert, which you can use it for being ready or preparing the community in a better way for in the case of the emergency. And I hope that gives us a glimpse of what we are doing, and I'm happy to take any question.
All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for a great presentation. And sorry I joined late because I didn't have the link. I couldn't find it. So thank you for the presentation. Any questions from the audience? Yeah, you can ask it now. I can just read it from the chat, or you can do it. You can just put it in the QA section. Nothing for now. So I have a question. Is it available for everyone to access this platform that you just showed us?
This is not public yet, but it's I mean, it's a cloud-based. Everyone can use it. We didn't launch it yet because we are in the kind of the final development. And our hope is by July, like by end of June, which that's the kind of the timeline with Microsoft, we can make it available for the public.
And do you have any plan to make it a GPT plugin or GPT application that also can people do it in that way?
It is like now it's like a, you know, third-party website, like our website you need to go, but that's under discussion with the Microsoft, what we can do, whether we keep it as a GPT like a capability behind the scene. You don't see it, but like you just put the prompt there and then it's going to connect you, or we keep it as a separate one. We didn't decide yet. It's under consideration.
So we have another question from Justin. Is the end goal to have the system work on a wide range of open data sites, enabling the OpenAI to access multiple open data sources at once, right?
That's a very good question, right? I just show like one example, like it was just a bike data, but this is a wide range of the open data, and it's going to target not only the emergency cases. It's like any question you ask. Our goal is by like end of the April, we're going to have across Canada. Right now, we have only City of Toronto data set being embedded, but having it across Canada, which you can ask any type of question which you are asking ChatGPT, is provide you some answer.
So basically, it connects to the geographic information. Also, it adds, I received the information from the data set, merge them together, and create some useful insight.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add this. Yes, it's like it's connecting to open data platform which is being provided by government under open data license of the government of Canada, and this is quite in every country we have this. Our goal is to connect to Canada first, and then next step is going to be next following 2 months is going to be state, and then we go beyond North America. We go to Europe too. So like the whole opportunity here is we really want to facilitate this and kind of the mediate this situation of the finding the right data from open platform through GPT-4 or GPT 3.5. So like whatever is gonna be like in your case.
And yeah, and I know GPT-4 is capable of searching in the internet, finding the URLs. Do you think that GPT also can be used to find the open data for us?
So like now this is a proof of concept we did for Microsoft.
Yeah.
So like I mean, like it's not just streamline, like we do some of the trick in between. So that's a kind of the like the trick of our the whole like innovation of our project. But eventually in the future we are aiming to have this. Right now, like yes, this is true. It's reading hyperlink, and in our system it's reading hyperlink, like meaning that whatever like a City of Toronto decide to change the data, that change comes to our system. It's not like we are not working with a static data, it's a dynamic data, and so like we're already there. But we have our own algorithm to how to do this, like a workaround, and that's a part of the innovation we did, and Microsoft is quite happy with that result.
Great. And one more question I have. You as a speaker, as the audience, please. Yeah, I see another question. No, not any further question for now. So I know the graphs are also something that GPT-4 is capable of creating them or highlighting. Do you think that they can highlight, for example, if we want to create a heat map on top of a map that is coming or something like that? Do you think it's also capable of it in the future?
So you're just speaking my mind. So that's our next. That's our part of our future work. Our goal was like connecting to data and then doing the simple integration, and now we are doing that clipping, downloading data. So next step is gonna be analysis, which one of the outcome will be that heat map generation.
Yeah. Great. So thank you so much for the great work, and I eagerly look for the next steps of the project, and if you share with us, that would be great. So any further questions from the audience, please don't be shy. Please ask your question. We can have more. Yeah. Do you think the system will be able to run with a Starlink? Yeah, can we?
I am not the IT specialist. Like I don't want to answer to the question which I'm not comfortable to. I don't know. Like I really don't know. This is a good question to think about that. Yeah.
What do you mean by run with the Starlink? Do you think the Starlink is to provide the internet in remote area? So
yeah, like a satellite internet.
So what do you think will be able to run with Starlink? Do you mean that we connect to the system with Starlink? I mean, in times of crisis, yeah, now it makes sense. Yeah, definitely. I think Starlink. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the internet. Like as long as the internet connection is there, I don't think our system is gonna be like a distinguishing between like whether it's a Wi-Fi or a Starlink or like a Bell Canada. It's the internet connection. But if you are thinking like through the Starlink going to like some like an internal data platform in some of the remote area? That's a very good question. I don't know. I am working with the Canadian open data, so we didn't try it. Like some of the country which they are not really open.
It's true. That's true. Yeah. Another question: what is the best way to contact you for the follow-up questions?
Oh, follow-up question.
On the
Absolutely.
slide, I think.
I'm gonna share my screen again. So my email is down there. If you can see my email.
I think the pop-ups are there. If you just click on your, because
yeah. Okay. So let me just. I can write it on the chat.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah. So it's not that difficult. mjadidi@yourq.ca. I would be happy to have more discussion. And regarding this project or any other project I'm involved.
Yeah, and there was a question that I answered already. The recordings of this will be available on the website. Will be shared publicly later when we are done with all the sessions. So, any further questions? Last call. No more questions? I'm pretty sure in the next version we'll have a lot of additional features. So the proof of concept is there now. You have seen it. And definitely, I'm pretty sure it can help us to even ask some questions that it run the queries over the data and also get back to us. For example, let's say the total number of stations in Toronto, it goes through the bike station. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I wanted to bring this like more emergency type of question, but I didn't want to really push my student because like we are developing still. So, but definitely in the future, like that. By our timeline, by end of the June, what we are expecting is like being able to share it with the public, and then you can start questioning. And some of the question, like ChatGPT, same way is answer is going to be good, and some answer is going to be,
That's true.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. One of the challenges we have is validation. So like now our data set, like a number of the data that we're dealing is quite small. So, but so that's why we kind of, doing the validation is based on ground truths we have. But when it's come to the larger scale, that's the challenges we have for the validation purpose, which we are still brainstorming how we're gonna deal with that.
Completely true. In mathematical calculation, GPT 3.5 is inferior related to GPT-4, but GPT-4 also makes mistakes. So yeah, you have the ground truth. And do you have a performance for the ground truth that you had related to the accuracy of the responses?
To be honest, right now, because its data set is very small, and we know that like a City of the Toronto data set is kind of like like performance is high. It's like over 90%, but like maybe it's like we are very biased. We know our data set, so so if there is something wrong, then we can kind of But the thing is, we are just giving the access to the data set. Like we are not really deciding or giving insight. So which that's going to be our next step too. Like we really want to give a reporting and the insight, like a paragraph saying that this is like a measure you can take. So this is gonna be much more sensitive rather than now. Now is like we are going to the website, we are collecting data, we are bringing and showing it, and then saying that this data set is based on this criteria. So that's why our performance is high. But when it comes to the insight, then definitely the performance can be something to be worked on.
Okay, great. So to recap, the next steps of the project is adding GPT, probably plugins directly. They can use it in GPT platform. Another thing, graphs that will be added in the future versions, such as heat map on the map. And in addition to that, we will see some additional features that coming soon.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions from the audience? Last call, nothing for now. Okay, thank you very much for a great presentation and great work. And that's about this presentation. I think now is the time to for Dr. Leila to join us again and introduce the next presentation.
Thank you very much. It was an
Thank you,
honor
everyone.
to be here, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Hello again. Hello again, everyone. It's great to have you all here. Thank you all for joining us today. I sincerely thank Dr. Mojgan Jadidi for their outstanding presentation and Dr. Tawfiqi for moderating this session. Our next session is scheduled for March 21st at the same time as today from 12 to 1 p.m. Toronto time. We'll have the honor of hosting Terry Cannon, a distinguished expert in climate change adaptation and disaster vulnerability, as our speaker, presenting on intersectioning injustices and competing narratives for climate change. We'll update you on more information about this great session through the YMerge and CFAL LinkedIn pages. Please consider following us on these platforms to stay updated if you haven't already. Your participation in these lecture series means a lot to us, and we are eagerly looking forward to see you at the next one. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.